Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun and today I'm here to talk about The Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 3. Now, this episode was a very unique episode because it was different. It was kind of almost like it wasn't a bottle episode, but it stopped to center around another character. And that hasn't really happened in the Mandalorian show so far. So far, the Mandalorian show has been about Din Djarin and Grogu, in that order. And it's been around them. It hasn't focused on another character. It hasn't spent the whole episode on another character. It hasn't spent an extended period of time on another character. This show has really been about them. And it's been more and it's been more old school Star Wars. It's been more big and spectacle and more globe hopping, and it's been a bit more of, it's been a bit more of the old, of the old school Star Wars and the way they approach things. So it was a bit of a shocker to a lot of people now that I'm seeing it, because after I saw it yesterday, I really wanted to sit down and think about it, because I really wanted to sit on it and think about how I felt about the episode, and I saw a lot of people's reactions, and everyone has different reactions to this episode. Some people appreciate that they mixed it up and did something different, something that's more lore built, that's kind of going to be bigger for the future of the actual Star Wars franchise, overall, because at the end of the day, the Mandalorian, Grogu, and all these characters, they never get brought up in the sequel trilogy. So just like Dave Filoni had to kind of piece together the remnants that were the prequel trilogy and make it make sense. Dave Filoni had, the prequel trilogy only makes sense because of Dave Filoni and what he did with Clone Wars. If you take away that and some of the non-canon books, none of that shit George Lucas did made any sense, and you couldn't really make it make any sense, not really, to what happened, to the original trilogy. Some of that shit just doesn't even line up, but through study and being a true fan of it, Dave Filoni was able to piece together things to make the prequel series make sense. I mean, Dave Filoni made Jar Jar Binks actually not terrible. So that should tell you how much Dave Filoni did to organically make the pieces between the original and the sequel trilogy make sense and fit together and just set the table. And it felt like a bit of that was done in this episode, because it is clear while the episode starts with Mando and Bo-Katan both talking to each other after he just left the waters, he survived. They saw the fucking mythosaur. They saw the mythosaur, all that shit. And it seems like Bo-Katan is hiding something from Din. She straight up does not tell him about that mythosaur that's in the fucking water. And they leave. And it turns out, because some people forgot this, and I even forgot this, that season 1, Bo-Katan had been going around stealing ships from the remnants of the Empire. So, go figure. Apparently, when she left her planet to go out here to go help Din, they figured out who she was. They figured out who she was, and they came after her. So, and they ended up destroying her. It was this awesome space chase sequence, really cool. Another badass space chase sequence. It's been 2, and it's only been there are only 3 seasons in, and we already have 2 badass space action chase sequences. Which is, like I said, that's the big spectacle of it all, and it's very fun and very well done. Some great shots, some great shooting from Mando, great flying from him and Bo, great stuff. But her home gets destroyed in the process. So Mando has to take her somewhere else to lie low, and we know where he's taking her. And at this point in the episode, you're like, oh man, okay, I see where this is going. Then it cuts to I do not remember the character's name, but in season 1 there was that doctor who was experimenting on Grogu. We saw him, and Mando let him live, and we always knew he was gonna come back up again. I don't think he even showed up last season, but we always knew he was gonna come back up again. He was working on the cloning. He was working on the whole cloning process. We already know what happened in the sequel trilogy, and it doesn't seem like, and I think Disney is gonna treat I feel like people have to accept this. Disney is gonna treat the sequel trilogy the same way they treated the original trilogy, the same way that everyone else and people treated the sequel trilogy, not sequel trilogy, the prequel trilogy, which is they're gonna take it as it is, and they're gonna make it make sense. So they're going to do with like I say, Dave Filoni is gonna do what he did for the prequels, which is make the sequels make sense, and he is gonna lay groundwork. And he is gonna do that shit so well that I guarantee this on my channel right now, maybe 10, maybe even 15, but probably 10 years from now, 10 years from right now, there's gonna be a group of people there's gonna be a group of children who watch the sequel trilogy who are gonna grow up. And they're going to tell you that those movies were good after Dave Filoni comes out with a couple animated shows, after he does all this groundwork to make all the pieces that don't make sense. I'm telling you, 10 years from now, there's going to be an entire group of like young 20, 22-year-olds, 25-year-olds who are going to tell you that sequel trilogy was great because of what they're going to do here. I only went on that tiny little rant because I do feel like that this is what a bulk of the episode's about. Because that scientist who was messing with Grogu in season 1, the one who worked at the cloning facility, he's back, and it seems like the Empire, another laying seeds of what happens later in the sequel trilogy, is that the New Republic, which were the rebels when they took over, they stomped out the Empire. Well, they stomped out the Empire. They defeated the Empire, beat the Emperor. They created the New Republic, and with the New Republic, instead of imprisoning all the people who work for the Empire or the higher ups, they took a lot of the higher ups in. They took a lot of the people who work for the Empires in and just put them through a program. And this episode kind of focuses on the remnants of the Empire and those people who are getting kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? De-radicalized in a way. Like, and it harkens back, this whole episode kind of harkens back to, I don't know, a lot of people know this. Some people know this, some people don't. But a lot of the Nazis after World War II did not go to prison. A lot of them didn't, particularly the scientists. In fact, a lot of there's a great chunk of Nazi scientists who America brought over, gave them new identities, gave them new names, brought them and their family over here, and said, "Hey, and essentially told them, you get to be Scott, you get to get away with all that shit you did over there. You just, as long as you work for us and you don't do it again, you're good." Because that's how smart, or that's how valuable some of these people were, that whatever they did over there was overlooked. And shit like that happened. That's a real thing. And there was a bit of that in this. And everyone already knows that the Nazis, a lot of the Nazis, Nazi Germany inspired the Empire in the way they are anyways. So the vibe you get here, also another reference, is you get a Hydra vibe. And now, it's not explicit, they didn't come out and say it, but the vibe you get in this episode, as we focus on that scientist and his confliction with the way things used to be compared to the way things are, and him trying to overcome that and dealing with his conscience over his ambition over his conscience and all that, is that we can see how because the one big question in the sequel trilogy that never got answered really is, how the fuck did the First Order come up? How did that even happen? How did this Empire clone happen when the good guys won? How could this happen? How could this happen so fast? Or not so fast, but relatively so fast. And the answer is, because the New Republic, and it seems like the answer to me, at least from what I've seen, is the New Republic was too soft on the remnants of the Empire that the remnants of the Empire pulled the Hydra, which is they planted themselves in the New Republic like a parasite and slowly grew and grew and grew and grew and grew until they were able to completely fuck the entire New Republic over and create something that's pretty much the Empire all over again. Which is why the First Order looks exactly like the Empire, because it's being run, technically, it's being run by remnants of the Empire. Like, at least that's the vibe you're getting here. And like I said, this episode did a lot of lore for the future. Did a lot of lore for the future. Did a lot of nice, like, touch-ups. Also, great to see. Also, great lore. Just seeing how people, how the world is after. You know, quite often after amazing movies, like after the last Lord of the Rings or something along that nature. You know, after you kind of spend your time like, I wonder what happened after that. You know what I mean? I wonder, like, how was life for people after that? How did people adjust to things? Like, when an evil king in the story has ruled over a land for thousands of years, how do people adjust to that king not being there anymore? Like, sure, you think, oh, everyone would be happy, but it's like, but it'd be a different world. You know what I mean? Like, it's a totally different environment now. So, like, with different challenges and a different light. So it's awesome to see this lore. It was very Andorian. And, like, I feel like anyone who complained about this episode you can't complain about this episode and then say you love Andor, because basically 40 minutes of this show was dedicated to an Andor-like sequence. Also, last tidbit, the finality of Din showing up with his tribe. Of course, Din brought him to his tribe. He got redeemed. Everyone congratulated him. But also, something that I thought about and that didn't occur to me is Bo also technically was dipped in the pools in the pools too, and she did not remove her helmet the entire time when she was there from when she did it. So they accept her in the covenant too. So is Bo-Katan gonna become like Mando? It was so funny because the entire show, from the moment he met Bo-Katan, everyone said, "Oh, this is gonna be the path to Din taking off his helmet more, to Din being less radical." But it looks like it may be the other way around. But anyways, thank you guys for joining the Copy Game Movie Show. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. I had a great time with this episode. I give this is also another 9 out of 10. It was a different approach. It was a different attitude. It did a lot of lore-based things. And like, I'm excited to see how Filoni is gonna piece the pieces that don't make sense about the sequel trilogy, because that's what he's gonna do. You know, Disney's gonna announce some animated shit series that takes place like right as the First Order is becoming a thing or whatnot. You know they're gonna do that, and they're gonna have like a actress play Leia, and like it's gonna center around a younger Leia who's like trying to run shit. I'm telling you how it's gonna go. You know, but anyways, thank you guys for joining the Comic Game Movie Show again. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.